I wish you had a great weekend, guys. I wish that you were able to recharge a bit after quite the week that we had last week. It was not easy. That was a good give back week, at least for me, even if I was not too active on the buy side. A lot of stuff came back, broke structure by the end of the week. So yeah, that's the feedback. I try to explain the most that I can in the PF update and within the Prime report, a bit where I stand. I want to remain anchored to that longer time frame, right, with the Nasdaq right into a rising weekly structure, with that potential higher low structure being made, potential shakeout and undercut in a rally, with that good news over the weekend. That's what I see from the futures. That's what I see from the market. And at the same time, you have some red flags, right? So credit spreads closed above a now rising 21-day structure. VIX showed a good give back, a good fade on Friday, but we'll need to see more constructive action and ultimately breaking down from the 21-day structure. So if we do, then that's certainly a good confirmation of that larger time frame higher low structure being made on the Nasdaq. Like I said, credit spreads, we need to see that kind of reclaim and re-breakdown. All right, that's what we need to see early this week. All right, it's normal to have small spikes above structure. It's not always a nice trend below. All right, it's normal to see the one day spike and then that downtrend continues of the right side. All right, but what we don't want to see though is the credit spread starting to live above the 21-day structure to hold a back test. So instead of slicing back through down in the structure like we did last two times, starting to see that kind of action, right? Starting to hold the back test, reclaim, forming higher lows and pushing new highs and new highs. All right, that's the action that we don't want to see, and that would put me a bit more on defensive, especially if price action on the weekly starting to break. Give me just 1 sec. All right, so just going straight up with the 5 pillars, keeping it super simple. Price action, all right. QQQE is still inside a rising 21-day structure. All right, we failed now 2 times, almost 3 times at the reversal pivot, right at that gap. So obviously that's an area of resistance. We'll need to see how we react if we try to reclaim that pivot, if we can push above that gap. And on the downside, well, we need to hold that 21-day structure. On the Qs, I covered that with the futures. I'm still seeing that larger higher low structure, that potential undercut and rally of the first initial breakdown. So we have those 2 distribution days, right? And if you look at the lows of each of one, we're not really able to push through to the downside. And we made that undercut and rally mid-June. And right now, yes, we have good action pre-market, but like many have already said in the pit, we're not out of the woods yet, and I totally agree. We're still below the declining 21-day move structure, but the ingredients of a shakeout, undercut and rally and reclaim are there with that hard-low structure. Until that hard-low structure is broken, I'm still staying in line with that longer time frame, that weekly uptrend. All right. Let's look at Brett. So Brett is actually very interesting. So we had that oversold, that higher low, building higher low, and Friday, despite the bad action that we saw in semiconductors and recent leaders, the rest of the Nasdaq was actually pretty flat with a green participation. So that kind of hooked up the McLaren oscillator. Summation approaching the oversold levels. So we've been contracting since early May. So it's been 2 months of very thin participation. We're talking about that potential negative divergence for a couple of weeks now, and that's really showing in the summation, meaning that on average in the last 2 months, we had more decliners than we had advancers. And you really had to be in the top leading stocks to have progress. And that's the reality of the tech space. So did we have that stealth contraction, digestion of that initial Brett trust? Or that's kind of Brett breaking down before price, which is a negative divergence. So obviously, only time will tell. As long as the leaders keep trading above their 21-day move structure, I'm in the camp that we now have more room for a continuation set up to a new high. But that's me always being optimistic. So yeah, so it can definitely fail. So that's about Brett. Stocks above their 5 DMA bounced nicely from a near oversold. We're now neutral, so no hedge there. We talked about the internals, credit spreads, VIX. Liquid leaders still above a rising 21-day move structure. Summation flat. Short-term Brett extension near oversold. McLaren oscillator pretty flat and neutral as well. So there's room both sides. And when I said that Friday was a bad day for semis and the liquid leaders, we had a minus 90 GDB score. So pretty strong downside participation, 60% of stocks down. Up-down ratio very weak. Very big downside momentum as well, with 48 stocks down more than 4%. So yeah, that was a distribution day. So let's see how we react today, how we react in the next few days, this week. And like I said in the Prime report, for me, that will be a day-by-day situation. So what is constructive? I think price action, that larger time frame, uptrend and Harlow structure on the Qs, that Brett is near oversold and have room to run. But red flags as well starting to pile up with that credit spreads reclaim of the 21-day move structure. VIX staying above the 21-day move structure as well. Both are 1 or 2 days from showing constructive action. So if price is good, those can be removed as red flags. And like I explained as well, the biggest red flag for me was being pushed out of positions Friday, right? So I had stuff like Cisco, VRT, Bloom Energy breaking down uh, pretty sharply below their 21-day move structure. So when I'm starting to get stopped up out of positions like that of the 21-day move structure, that's usually a red flag, right? That I need to listen. So that's why I reduced a lot of exposure Friday. I went down 80% on exposure. I reduced my NAIR down to 1%. I reduced my guardrails uh, metrics down to good levels. And now I was ready to wait over the weekend how the situation would develop. We would hack this morning as well. And that's why you saw me put back a bit of risk this morning. Open Marvel, which is a top leading stock, top group, top team, top name that I wanted to get in for a while, but never had that 21-day move structure pullback. So now we have tight day on Friday. It held pretty well. So again, I'm buying the structure. Let's see how the day goes. So I'm still below 2% NAIR. My risk metrics are very well contained. So I'm okay to put back that risk and seeing how the session goes. Yes, I know Bihi was probably some rotation with the Russell, but to be honest, how do you want to hold that? I just can't hold a stock 8% below my stop loss. So I'm okay to cut it. If it reclaims a 21-day move structure, then I'll be back and chasing an entry. But there's no way, even if you know that there's some fuckery around the Russell rebalance, well, I need to respect my process. I need to respect my stop loss and cut that position into the weekend. Yeah, exactly. Same thing with VRT. Stop me out. I'm good. All right. There was probably some fuckeries. Cisco as well. That's my system. So sometimes you have that breakdown and you just reclaim, then guess what? You get back into the stock. But sometimes it breaks down and you go into a larger pullback and you're happy to have cut your position. When you get stopped up, you never know what will happen. All right. And you can't defend that position and try to find reasons to stay in the stock, because as you go down, it will get harder and harder to cut that position. Your best loss is your first loss. All right. And that's really true. If you want to get better at cutting your losses, cut them early. That will help you to not get into a large loss that will be just harder and harder and harder to cut over time. All right, so that's about the market. Like I explained, I remain optimistic because larger time frame, we still have an uptrend. But we do have some red flags piling up with mainly credit spreads reclaim, VIX above 21-day move structure, and starting to getting pushed out of positions. I want to remain engaged, like I said, near fully exposed, especially with adding back Marvel this morning. And take it day by day. All right. The feedback from new position will really dictate my posture, dictate my actions from now on. Snow is close to the risk. That's one that I could be trimming today. CrowdStrike, I had it. Very strong RS in cyber names on Friday, but my 2R is a bit higher. So I'm not in a hurry to de-risk that. Marvel is a bit higher as well. So I want to see how this develops the right side of that chart. But we have a sorry, potentially a nice base forming. So I want to be patient as well, as long as it holds the 21 DME structure. So I don't know if you guys have questions. Maybe going through the sorry, the focus list real quick. So Intel, really strong chart. We have that breakout, base breakout, back test of the 21 DME structure. It was a bit high for me to execute pre-market. That's why I went with Marvel. But ENTC, really similar chart, good catalyst. Same thing with AMD, with ALAB, with ASML, kind of same team, semis. Then you have Nebius. I didn't want to add pre-market, but in the next few days, if we start to tighten up inside the 21 DME structure, that might be a name that I had to my core position. Dell acting a bit weak pre-market might give another opportunity, a bit tighter risk against the 21 DME structure this morning. Marvel, like I said, I executed that. I explained my entry as well in my journal. ENTG, really strong off the right side with that breakout. A bit wide and loose, but that was a really good spot in the 21 DME structure. And CrowdStrike, I kept in Focuslist just in case it was being weak. Retesting the reversal pivot, for example, that would have been a really good entry. But now that it's gapping up, that will be above 1 ATR from the 21 EMA and not actionable anymore for me. So that's the focus list. Again, really focusing on the top groups, top teams. So you have that cluster of top 5 teams with the top 5 names. You have, again, there's the top group, top names setting up. ENTC, if it gets a bit of weakness today, coming back in the 21 DME structure, it has to be a top focus. SNDK, if it gets weak and get into the 21 DME structure, that's another top group, top name setting up. ASML setting up as well. ALAB and Marvel. All right, so top 5 group, top 5 names setting up. You need to be optimistic unless you see black and you see bear everywhere and you're super negative, but you won't be executing those names. But when you see those top 5 groups, top 5 names giving you entries, you need to be optimistic, because otherwise you will always miss those names. By the time the market will shake out, by the time the market will set up, those names will be gone. All right, so you need to be a bit focused on those top names to execute them. And then if they break down, then that's a big red flag for the market itself. If the top groups and top names within those groups can't hold their 21 DME structure, then you know that the market will probably be weak some more with a larger, deeper pullback. But unless we see those names breaking down, you have the top name setting up. Yeah, Dell I already covered. It's a bit weak, might give a nice entry. It's super interesting. A bit down in the group RS, but still a name to focus in my opinion, and it's in my focus list. So yeah, I think it's interesting, but it's a bit weak pre-market. So watch how it will react to maybe a shakeout this morning. If you get an oops reversal on Dell, that's very, very, very interesting. All right, so any other questions, guys? No questions. So I wish everyone a very good day. Take care, take it step by step. Listen, volatility is high. The leadership is thin. Participation is thin. So if you have already some core exposure, that's okay. Like I did to add position by position and get that feedback if it works or not. But be really careful to not overdo it. Not go too crazy with exposure on a Monday gap up. And make sure to control your NAIR. Make sure to follow your recent trade feedback, because this is not an easy market by any means. All right, 2026, at least for me, is pretty tough. You get that very choppy market at the start of the year, then super strong month, then Friday 2 weeks ago, that really got me hard. I was able to recover, but then last week gave back some, still within that hard low in my equity. So that's why I have the cushion to remain active and engage. But if you don't have that cushion, really go position by position. Keep your NAIR on the low side. Don't go on margin for sure. Really limit the number of new positions that you have, and try to gain cushion. Try to gain feedback, and wait for the market to broaden out. Yeah, 2% there. That's my spot as well. I'm at 1.7 right now. I'm not expecting to go above 2. So yeah, let's see how the day goes. Let's see how the market reacts to that small gap up this morning. We had a pretty big gap up last week, and it faded. So as long as I'm optimistic, I remain pretty neutral with a foot out of the door. So yeah, cautiously optimistic, I think is the right term. Thought on SoFi. So it's not a leading group. It's not a leading stock. So I can see kind of the rotation play. You have your stage 1 base, You have that reclaim, back test, higher lows of the right side. You have that daily reversal on Friday. So yes, there's a possibility to play that bigger breakout of that stage 2 breakout. But just know that you're also still in base. You're still in a long-term downtrend. This is a lagging group. This is a lagging name. So don't go too crazy exposure-wise in your portfolio in those type of names. If you're trading liquid leaders, great leading group, then that's okay to have some rotational plays. That's okay to have a couple names, but don't have the bulk of your exposure in those type of plays. For me, I have Snow, I have CrowdStrike, and that's enough for me. All right. No, I don't trade biotech. So Jellicatine is asking, I missed a bit in the beginning, but would you personally even put a new position here? Well, I did pre-market. So yes. Yeah, please rewatch the whole session. I will post the recording. But just quickly, cautiously optimistic. We have that longer time frame trend still on the Nasdaq, still in an uptrend on the weekly, trying to build that higher low structure. We're still below that declining 21 DMA structure though, so we do have some red flags with credit spreads above structure, with the VIX above structure, but there's also some potential constructive action. So I want to remain engaged. I want to be on top of those. When I went in the team's lab, right? You have the top 5 groups, top 5 names setting up. So I want to be on top of those. And if they fail, then that's another red flags on top of those starting to pile up. All right, so have a good day, guys. Be cautious, but keep an open mind. We'll take it day by day, and we'll have the feedback that we need from our position, from the leaders, from the leading groups as well. So be cautious with your exposure, but open-minded to a potential continuation setup. All right, we don't know what will happen. Have a good day. Cheers. Bye-bye, everyone.